Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Side Quest on the Fun and Games podcast. This is my first side quest. I am Darren Hupke. I am a writer, a publisher, and podcaster. I do a lot of things under my umbrella at Pixels and Polygons. I've done a series of books called 32-Bit Library that take chunks of the original PlayStation library, publisher by publisher, and break them down and just kind of revisiting and living in the nostalgia that it is that I have for the original PlayStation console. I also do a monthly zine called Retro Game Zine. That's just a single look or a look at a single game month to month, and they're all over the place. I've done Commodore 64 games, I've done Dreamcast games, and everything in between. So that's just a fun excuse to dive into a game from my past that I love on a month-to-month basis with awesome contributors, also helping to fill out the pages and having different perspectives along the way. And then I also do my podcast called Pixels and Polygons. It's a conversational podcast. It's short and sweet, similar to this. It's meant to just be a one you listened in between, like big shows or big chunks of time. If you only have a sliver of time left, you can pop on an episode of Pixels and Polygons and hear me talk to a guest where we answer a single video game question or prompt. And once we're done having the conversation about that, that's it. Typically around 20 to 30 minutes, but it's designed to be the perfect podcast between podcasts. But yeah, that's me. I'll have some websites and my social media stuff at the end of the episode. I hate filling up the top of this like this all about me, because this isn't about me. This is about Jammer Lammy. This is the kind of pseudo follow-up, pseudo sequel to Parappa the Rapper. And a lot of what I have to say here does match to Parappa, but I think a lot of the charm and style that Jammer Lammy had kind of speaks more to like my style, and it's like the value of the game also just made me love it so much more as a kid. So the original release of Jammer Lammy was in 1999 back on the original PlayStation, something I love, and coincidentally why I picked this. This was done by the developers at NanaOn-Sha. They also did Parappa. They're headed by like the main designer and creator, Masaya Matsuda, and this game had collaboration with the artist. You're all familiar with the art, I'm sure, but Rodney Greenblatt. NanaOn-Sha has done other games like Vib Ribbon and things. They're not always with Rodney, but they're all done by Matsuda and team, and they're very tied to music and rhythm and finding creative ways to find entertainment in games. And Jammer just came at a time for me where I thought I knew what video games were. I mean, I was obviously in love with games, and I was enthralled with video games, and I'd already had years, nearly a decade at that point of gaming under my belt, and coming from an NES and then into a Genesis before I got my first PlayStation. Typically games were, side-scrolling. You'd pop into a stage, you'd run to the right as fast as you can. You'd jump, punch, kick, or shoot anything else that appeared on the screen, and you wash, rinse, and repeat it. Sure, there were other genres and other things, but you can kind of infer and base a lot of games out of a similar designs concept there. The Genesis just spiced things up graphically, and you had sports games and things as well, but I thought I knew what video games were. I thought I knew what entertainment I was going to get from video games, and so I was always looking for something new and something fun to play. I just didn't know that there could be unique things like this out there. So I'm sure you know a little bit about Parappa, but Jammer matches the same kind of gameplay. You're playing through a series of stages in a kind of call and response, almost Simon Says type of concept, but your teacher in each stage will have a verse they'll share, and it will match, and their words will match to corresponding face buttons or shoulder buttons. So circle, square, triangle, or cross, or L1 or R1. And as they say, you'll see where those prompts line up with their verse. Then it comes to your turn, and on your turn, you need to press those corresponding buttons to match in rhythm in the song, to emulate what your teacher did, to prove that you're learning and you're mastering their advice and technique, and repeating. If you do well, you continue to perform good in their ranking, and if you miss some notes, are off time, don't hit everything, whatever it may be, you can start to fall into a bad category, and after that you can get into awful. That's when even the level and the stage and your teacher start to respond. The music starts to kind of get, fall out, get distorted or reduced. It's just kind of your last warning before you have to either recover, or if you fail outright again from there, you will just kind of lose the stage immediately and have to repeat. So you'll do that a lot. Even if you have a pretty good sense of rhythm, there is still just kind of like a timing challenge to it all. It got worse with like the remasters and re-releases that Parappa had on like the PS4 and everything. But on original hardware, you should be able to do it with a good sense of rhythm, but you will have to kind of like learn the feel and the tempo of the songs. But there weren't a lot of music and rhythm games at this time, and that's what was so special to me. I had the original PlayStation when I first purchased it. I didn't even afford a game when I got it. Like my mom took me to a store to buy it, and it was just the system itself that I got. It wouldn't be for a couple more weeks that I'd finally be able to go back and buy, I think, a copy of Twisted Metal. But the pack-in demo had a demo for Parappa, and once I had played through and checked out like Cool Borders and some other things, I wasn't quite sure what it was, but that was a game I needed in my life that I never knew existed and what would be possible, to play something like that. And it just opened up my mind to just what entertainment could be. I know there's a lot of conversation on, how much is a $60 game, like how much content should that have? Like how much is too much or how much is too little? And just always trying to justify like dollar to minutes in like as far as like a gameplay versus value. And just judging a game based on its entertainment value is really what should stack things up. And just the fun that was had with Jammer Lammy and Parappa, like you can't replace that. The style and the charm, like the wild and eccentric like plot, like the almost TV show and episodic like delivery of it all, and then just trying to like master like the timing and the gameplay of it. And then you're singing the songs and you have the hooks and everything like in your brain like all day long, even when you're away from your system. Like if I'm thinking about a game long after I'm away from my system and playing it, then it's done a good job. And just the songs and the environment that Parappa and Jammer put you in are rad. Anyway, let's get back on track a little bit here. So the game itself, like the plot of it all in Jammer Lammy, is one where she's a guitarist for an all-girl band, and she's fallen asleep the night before their first big concert, and she kind of has a nightmare about not being able to kind of make it and potentially screwing things up and letting her friends down. So when she wakes up and she sees she's almost late and she's got 15 minutes to go to get to the concert, she sprints out, and that's where like the episodic feel of it all happen. Something wild and bizarre happens that delays her and prevents her from continuing, and she has to then play that stage against that teacher to learn a little bit about what she has to do to advance past that obstacle and continue on to her destination and get to the gig and perform with her band. I mean, in 1999, to have an all-girl band, be like the main character and like the center of a game, like from just that era, you wouldn't expect it. I mean, we're still seeing like super, like just I don't want to say inappropriate, but like just like the ads and things like that were like being targeted at. It was a heavily like male driven industry, and that was just so of that moment. But to have something like this, like it was a breath of fresh air, and definitely something unique. And obviously, we're still dealing with challenges of just having representation and having visibility for all types of players and all types of people who are coming to enjoy video games. And this, regardless of who you were and what your background was, this is just entertainment for the sake of entertainment for all. And there was no barriers or limitations or any way to dissuade you from just being able to have some fun. The character of Lammy herself, she kind of deals with like a lack of confidence. Like in each stage, she sees that she's in trouble, and she feels that she's playing her guitar, so that is how she has the confidence to kind of continue and move on. And what the teachers are teaching her along the way, just like in Parappa, building up his self-worth and having the ability to believe in himself, Lammy has like dealt with like shyness and like anxiety and just an inability to just kind of like have that self-confidence to know that what she's doing, she can succeed at and she can, be proud of. And so, like the first stage, you're putting out a fire, and you're holding the fire hose yourself. And as you do better, and as you do well, and as you actually successfully complete the stage, you save the day, you save the burning building, you save the people, and you realize that it wasn't a guitar that you were playing that song with, but it was the fire hose that with you're helping the chief from the fire department with to put out that fire. And so, all along the way, with each stop in the stages, you see Lammy gain that confidence and being able to kind of come out of her shell there. And that's where I was attracted to the game. I was a kid who was just ridiculously riddled with like anxiety of being put on the spotlight and out of my comfort zone. I mean, I had a healthy relationship with my friends and my family, like hanging out and doing the things I wanted to do. They were easy. I didn't have difficulties doing that. Me and my friends would play games all the time and read magazines, watch basketball, do just all these things. But if I was put into an environment in school and was, had to step up in front of the class or had to do something that was outside of my comfort zone, even if I, was plenty prepared, like that lack of that self-confidence and that ability to like just kind of doubt yourself would always kind of creep in the back of my mind. And it was stressful. And I'm sure a lot of you listening to this, you probably had similar elements of that growing up. I mean, it's not an uncommon mindset to be in, especially as a youth growing up. But seeing that represented in a character, even though it was a fun and like vibrant and like animated, like, cartoonish and exaggerated plot and story, like the core of it all was about finding that confidence in yourself, about understanding and trusting in yourself to be able to be successful, and you're not letting anybody down. You can be proud of what it is that you're doing, and challenge yourself to be better and get better, and not let people down, yourself included. And it was just, that was the story. Like that was the theme. That was what you walked away and you took away from. It wasn't about defeating aliens on a planet or going to another dimension and collecting space bucks or anything. It was like a coming of age story that just really spoke to me, and I think that's why it's always been special to me. I mean, I've grown into an adult that's I got no issues talking in front of folks. I mean, I'm at conventions selling my books, meeting people, shaking hands, doing podcasts, and having a great time. And I think it's being able to like reflect, and I didn't have therapy. I didn't have somebody to talk through, but I think, in my way, playing games like this, and like being exposed to the story of games, like what Parappa and what Jammer Lammy delivered, like helped me like think about and wire my brain to understand, having that self-confidence, having that belief in yourself, having the ability to overcome those own mental obstacles to, trust in yourself, leave it to Lammy is her catchphrase. And that's just like having that belief in oneself to be able to accomplish something. And it's just so important. And that's all delivered in a package of a game that you can beat in a single sitting, and it's just highly ridiculous and slapstick and fun and funny and addicting. Jammer Lammy, though, continues to deliver even after that. Parappa's formula was kind of over at that point, but once you finish Lammy's story, you unlock the ability to play through the entire thing again, but as Parappa. It remixes all of the songs. You now have the ability to hear like these altered versions and kind of hear like Parappa's take on everything. And instead of playing a guitar with your button presses on the call and response side of things, you're rapping back just like you did in the original game. So it's almost like getting a sequel to Parappa, like secretly stashed into Lammy's game. And then in addition to that, there was a new feature in having co-op levels where you and Lammy or you and Parappa could play together to both successfully work together to beat those altered versions of those stages. And then competitive levels where, the score chase multiplayer side of things where you want to, beat your friend or best, whoever it is you're going against. And all the levels can be played in that same fashion. So beyond just that weekend rental, like beat it Parappa style, like all of these had the ability to finish with the highest score, to finish collaboratively, competitively, or alternatively, like with Parappa. And so there was just so much value in this game. And again, I try to make the point that, it's not about dollars to minutes, how much there is, but I was expecting this game to be a similar experience to what Parappa was, and I thought it was already worth my money on that alone. But then as I played through and saw how much there was in this one, like I was just pleasantly surprised and blown away. It's just definitely a game that I'll forever love. So yes, this is a fun game. It's a game I recommend to everybody because of its gameplay elements, its mechanics, its call and response, rhythm-based, timing-based gameplay. That's all awesome. That's all fun. That's all well done and well represented here. But also deep to just kind of touching my soul and helping me find myself and give me confidence through its story and themes and its representation for what the game was. It's just a very important game to me and a very special game to me. And I'm glad I got a chance to come on here and share that and talk about that with y'all. So huge recommendation. Go out and check it out. And hopefully one day we get to see more games like this in this series. That would be a dream of mine. So thank you. I've also wanted to just share just a continuation of the intro about me. You can find my stuff online at pixelsandpolygons.net. That's where you can physically buy the books and zines that I do, Retro Game Zine and 32-Bit Library. Patreon.com/Darren Hupke. That's where I do some original writing and things that are, don't fit either of those vessels. And also I use that as a digital storefront. The shop on Patreon lets me sell digital files so you can get all 32-Bit Library and Retro Game Zine there digitally for a lot cheaper. And yeah, what else? I guess the social media stuff, I'm only on Blue Sky. You can find me at darrenhupke.bsky.social and at pixelsandpolygons.net for like the business account. That's the only social media platform I'm on. You can always send me a message either through Patreon as well, if that's something you're on, not the other, if you wanted to chat more. And then the podcast, the same platforms you're listening to this podcast on, Pixels and Polygons is likely on, so you can always search there. I think that's all I got for you. Thank you for listening to me. Thanks. I ramble a lot. I say a lot. But thank you all for putting up with me, and happy gaming.
Hey, you there. This is Nomad speaking. If you love retro video games and you're itching for some nostalgia, check out the Retro Wildlands podcast. In each episode, I'll use game music and sound to pull you into the gaming experience while I share my own thoughts and maybe a few memories. It's a great way to relive one of your favorite games or learn about a new one. Check out the Retro Wildlands podcast at superpodnetwork.com or wherever you listen to your podcast.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.